What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and happy Friday to all of you out there, TGIF, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. In today's video, we are going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We have a lot of catching up to do in today's video. We have a new dev video from Manager Kiki to break down and talk about because there is a lot of really good information in there. We're also going to be taking a look at a forum update post by CM Iori, letting us know that they are extending the EX banner as well as the EX events that have been going on for the past couple of weeks, which may or may not get you excited, but I don't know, it's more time for me to save, so I'm good with it. And we also are going to be talking about the new World Drop event and the crafting event that is going on right now, because, well, it's alright. Not anything too special, but we'll get there. But before we go ahead and get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, you already know what time it is. I'm in a great mood. My favorite band in my entire life released their first song in 10 years yesterday, and I'm on cloud 9, so yeah, let's just go ahead and get into this. Cue that intro. Alright, you guys, so first off here, we're going to be taking a look at the latest dev video from Manager Kiki over on his official channel. This is episode 14 of his dev series. I will have a link in the description so you guys can check it out for yourselves. This thing dropped yesterday, so let's go ahead and break it down. We won't be going through the entire thing because most of this is going to be kind of just behind the scenes stuff, which honestly really doesn't give us any sort of information whatsoever. And to be honest with you guys, not worth going through. But the first 5 minutes or so of this video, definitely worth it, so let's go ahead and take a look. Ah yes, Manager Kiki, it's been way too freaking long, my friend. How long has it been since he did a video? Was it before Street Fighter? I think it was right before Street Fighter. It was the last one. But there's a lot of good information here. I have seen this, so we'll kind of go through it. So right off the bat, he does talk about how they did listen to the feedback about the current bingo. Some of those missions were a little bit, a little contentious. So they did change those. Those have already been patched, so that's nothing we have to worry about. But there's a lot of really good information in here. So right here, they released a lot of feedback about the EX system. And they're planning on stabilizing the core workings of the game. So that's something that's interesting. If we think about what that could implicate that maybe the servers, I'm not entirely sure, but they do say that they are going to stabilize the core workings of the game. I really hope that that might mean that the servers get stabilized. Fingers crossed. I have not personally been dealing with as many issues as since I made that video about it, but I know a lot of people still are. So we'll have to wait and see. That might be what that means, but we do not know, so don't quote me. Even though you will anyway. So, right here's another really interesting bit that's something that we already knew, to be honest though. Like, these are going to be the results for the different regions for that survey we had a little while back. And none of this is anything too surprising because I feel like we've already seen a lot of these. But in general, they are reiterating that they are planning on using this as the foundation for them to be able to pick which characters they're going to be buffing and EXing. So for all of you Leona fans, for all of you Gainitz fans, for all of you Kyo fans, I get the feeling those characters are going to be getting buffed very, very soon. But there's a lot of different options here, so we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Unfortunately, my wife, who's down here at the bottom on almost every one of these. Yuri got 0 votes on global. Poor Yuri. Anyway, let's continue. Good lord, 0%. Way to show up, girl. You're welcome for our feedback. So right here is also really cool. It's unfeasible to work on many fighters at once, speaking about the EX system and change-up kits and all that, but they plan to gradually provide them moving forward. So we'll have to wait and see what that means. I'm not entirely sure what this part of the quote means because this could mean a lot of things. He doesn't really go into much detail on what he means by that. Does he mean they're going to be providing change-up kits, memories? What is it going to be? Characters? Like, we don't know. So it could just mean that they're planning on providing us with EX characters gradually. So I'm not entirely sure we can back it up here again, but yeah, see, it did really, to me, I'm not entirely sure exactly what that means. That could mean a couple different things. So I'm not going to sit here and try and guess at it. Now here's some more good news. They realize that getting change-up kits for the release fighters is too difficult, and they plan to tone down the difficulty for the change-up kits. Right here you see that they do kind of use as an example here Orochi, which is a non-BS or SS limited banner character, where right now as it sits we need BS memories in order to be able to change-up kit these characters. That is BS, no pun intended, and we've all talked about that since the launch of this. It's arguably the worst part of this system right now. They plan on changing this and reimbursing anybody, all 5 people that have ever EX'd either of these guys, their memories. So that's really cool that they aren't just going to say you're SOL. But in general, I like this. This is something that had to happen. Hopefully this means that this new system will be very simple. And for those of you who have not seen any sort of content on either of these guys EX'd, both of these guys are exceedingly good by comparison to where they've been in the past. Like, they're very, very strong. So in general, this is a really positive change. This is something I'm actually looking forward to quite a bit. I really want to be able to EX this Omega Rugal and play with him because he seems like he's very, very strong once he's EX'd. So yeah, this is very positive news. This is something that had to happen. So going forward, this will be something I'm keeping my eye on quite a bit. But let's go ahead and jump back into it. We noticed that many enthusiastic KoFAS players had already went through with their change-up. So yeah, he is going to, like I said, reiterate here that they are planning on reimbursing those memories. So that's very, very cool. That's something we'll have to look forward to later on. So the reorganization of certain events and challenges here. So they basically are talking about how, and they've talked about this in the past, and it's something that they seem a little bit hypocritical on at times. I'm looking at you, Yamada no Orochi Dungeon, but they had talked about many times in the past how they want to cut down on homework, right? The amount of time we have in the game in order to just do like our dailies. And so now they're talking about this again. This is something they're broaching again, and they're planning on condensing more things. I have to wait and see what they condense and how they condense it. They've done this before with certain things. This is usually a good sign and something that's a good change. Not sure what they're going to do, but it does seem like they are planning on condensing things again, so that is going to be really, really cool. It needs to happen. So I'm very happy that's going to happen. And he talks about here how kind of there's so many different resources, there's so many different things to power up characters, there's so much to keep in mind. New players find it very confusing. So in general, this is going to be a positive change in my opinion. Again, something that needs to happen. And honestly, as much as we kind of take for granted if we're veterans playing this game, kind of knowing exactly what all this stuff is and what we're looking at, imagine being a new player coming into the game, and maybe you are a new player that just got into the game and you look at some of this and you go, wow, what do I do with all this stuff? Well, it sounds like they're going to make it a little bit simpler, so that's good. But we can go ahead and keep it going here. But yeah, that is very, very good news. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is very redundant, very complicated for new players. And again, there is an amazing new player guide. You guys can find it over in my Discord. There's also a link in the Reddit, but definitely check it out. It'll help you out. Now, this part here is pretty cool. Back it up just a tad since I was talking there. So they are planning on, as you guys can see here, they're planning to go ahead and make some of the old fighters who are unavailable available again. So it looks like 96 Geese, 96 Wolfgang Krauser, 2000 Lin, and AS False Resurrection Kriz are going to be available again. Some of these characters were on limited events, others were available through separate means, so they are going to be adding them back in. We'll have to wait and see what this means as far as how they're going to do it. Is it going to just be a unified banner thing? Probably. We'll have to wait. But good news for everybody that didn't get those characters or doesn't have those characters. So yeah, good stuff. And then right here they talk about how the Tower of Trials is going to get changed. So the Tower of Trials is pretty old. It's been around forever and hasn't ever really changed much. We had like, I think, one major update to it to extend it, and then that was it. So in general, this is something that, yeah, it could use a change. It depends on what the change is. Hopefully it isn't something like a Daimos based change where they're going to turn it into something that's just a chore and just atrocious to do. But in general, I would give anybody who out there who has recently downloaded the game the advice of making sure that you clear this as soon as possible. I've seen people clear this thing for the first time with, an A1 character, so it isn't all that difficult, depending on what your roster looks like. But I would try to get this done before it gets changed, because I would just assume that this is going to change in the next update, which could be anytime after 5.22, which we'll talk about momentarily. But in general, I would say try to get this done as quickly as possible, just in case some of this stuff goes away. I mean, it's not anything it's not anything exclusive when it comes to some of the rewards here, but you definitely want to try and at least get them before they're gone in case they change that entirely. So interesting stuff. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if I do remember correctly, I think that is going to do it for, that is going to do it for pretty much any and all of the information in here. The rest of this is pretty much just going to be behind the scenes. They end up going to the voice acting studio that they use, and they end up showing off some of the voice lines being recorded, kind of that process. We have a brief kind of FaceTime with one of the voice actors right here, so really, really cool, but at the same time, nothing we need to talk about in this video. So in general, you guys, this was a pretty good dev video overall, in my opinion. There's a lot of positive information in here that made me pretty happy. I think that for the most part, there's going to be some positive changes coming our way. It sounds like there's going to be some quality of life changes coming our way. And in general, I'm pretty happy with everything I'm seeing here. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below what part of this you were excited about. But for me, I think that really the big thing here that I took away from this, as far as the positives are concerned, is I'm really looking to see how they're going to stabilize the game, because I think that could be really interesting depending on what that means and what that implicates. But also, I'm pretty excited for the fact that they are planning on changing up characters like Omega Rugal and Orochi a lot easier. So in general, really, really good stuff, you guys. But with all that out of the way, we have more news we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and talk about the post that was made on the official forums yesterday from CM Iori, letting us know that they are extending the current EX events as well as the EX banner for EX Kyo for an extra 4 days. So let's take a look at it. Alright, you guys, so here we are over on the official forum. Again, links will be in the description, but as you guys can see, this notice was posted late yesterday. It says, notice, event schedule extensions and patch schedule. Hi there, this is CM Iori. With the addition of the new EX fighter, the combat style became more diverse. Thus the schedule, I'm not going to read all this broken English. We'll just get to the actual information here, guys. So basically, long story short, is they are planning on extending the current EX events as well as the EX banners. So as you guys can see, after this patch, which has already pretty much taken effect, pretty much as you guys can see, this has been extended an extra 4 days. So we ended up having an event that was going to end on the 18th. Now it is extended to the 22nd. As you guys can see, these are going to be the things that are extended. And obviously the biggest thing here is going to be the fact that the EX Fighter and Battle Card pickup summons for Volume 1 have been extended, as well as the corresponding events. Do keep in mind, the 3 Sacred Treasures Relay Bingo and Battle Pass are not included. So you need to make sure that you finish this stuff up. If you guys still haven't picked this up and you're planning on doing so, it is not extended, so keep that in mind. And then the bingo is still going to end at the same time as it initially was on 5/18. The rest of this stuff has been extended, so this basically includes your EX event codex, your special signature memory exchange, your rush dungeon, your strongest rival event, the Amada no Orochi event. The all packages sold in the EX Fighter shop is also on here, so any of the EX Fighter corresponding shop items are also going to be extended. And for the future, Rush event coins and the exchange shop. So pretty much all this stuff that has to do with the EX Fighter Summon Volume 1 has been extended till the 22nd of May. Keep that in mind, and again, these are the exemptions. Please, please, please make sure that you don't assume these are in here. Otherwise, you're going to be a very unhappy camper. So, with that out of the way, because that's really all there is to talk about there, this is very good news in my opinion. Honestly, you guys, I said this in my community post, but just to reiterate, if you're somebody that was planning on pulling for Kyo and was really sweating on when he was going to be going away because you were wanting another memory or two, then fear not, because now you have an extra 4 days to do so, which is good news for you. And then it's good news for people like me that are saving, because we have extra time to save. So I think this is a win-win. Some people out there are going to complain because, well, they're going to say the game's dead right now and there's nothing to do, blah, blah, blah. I agree that the events in here aren't necessarily the most exciting, especially the Yamada no Orochi event, but at the same time, I think that this is good news overall. You know, I think that everybody benefits from this in general, so I don't think an extra 4 days is going to kill anybody, and honestly, I think there's definite positives there. So anyway, you guys, the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is the latest in-game update. We're going to talk about the World Drop event because we haven't had a chance to talk about that quite yet. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the new Noah's Special Crafting event. So this thing here is going to be as part of our World Drop event. This is going to be where we are going to be exchanging the coins that we are going to be grinding. Now, when it comes to this thing, we'll talk about the rewards and then we'll talk about the World Drop event itself. So basically, as you guys can see here, we have 4 different options to craft for this event. So if we take a look here, we are going to have these tokens here. This is going to be your EX Core Board Reset token. So this guy here is pretty valuable. In general, you're going to be able to craft several of these, it looks like. So pretty interesting stuff overall that they are going to be allowing us to get these things. It looks like we can craft up to 5 of them. These things here are pretty valuable, like I mentioned. In general, I don't think they're anything that is going to just, you know, be setting the world on fire as far as people's excitement level when it comes to some of these crafting items on this event. But at the same time, I think that with the amount of time we have with this crafting event, which is going to be 22 days, we have way more than enough time to be able to get most all this stuff, which is really, really nice. And as we talk about the World Drop event itself momentarily, we're going to find that getting these tokens for this thing is really not all that difficult. So I think that most people are probably going to be able to pick up most of these items. But in general, these guys here, 5 of these, I think is definitely going to be something people are going to want. I'm planning on trying to get several of these myself. However, the thing that I was most excited about, and as you guys can see, I've already crafted 30 of the 40 we're allowed to craft of these. These guys right here are really valuable in my opinion, and these are the highlight of the entire event. For me personally, other people might feel differently, but the speed up ticket mystery boxes, if we take a look here, there are a lot of really good little items in here that I'm planning on just picking up and holding on to for a future EX character that I just can't wait to get fully maxed out. But as you guys can see, you can get up to the 6-hour ones, which cuts 6 hours off of one of your dispatch missions, which is really, really good. I've gotten a few of these off of these. You get the 4-hour ones, 2-hour ones, the 1-hour ones, all the way down to 10 minutes. This is a really good value here, in my opinion, something I am prioritizing over everything else for the moment. Everybody's going to have different priorities. For me, this is my priority item, but I've already crafted most of these. Like I said, I think I'm going to end up being able to get almost all this stuff just based on just light daily stuff and not doing anything too crazy. You know, I will be grinding a little bit, but I'm planning on conserving some of my AP on this, which we'll talk about. But in general, pretty good stuff. I'm definitely a fan of this one right here. Then we got this here, which honestly was the one that was kind of a disappointment. So we can craft up to 200 of these. And if we take a look here, the one thing that really sticks out is 1, there are no rubies, and 2, there are no elite enhancement hammers. So this thing has gold enhancement hammers as well as our uncommon and commons. Then we get the Awakened Tier 1 through 5 EXP capsule selection boxes, and then the Plus Capsule mystery boxes. In general, I could take it or leave it on these. The hammers are always definitely going to be appreciated, but I'm not necessarily over the moon about the selection here. So this thing here to me is less of a priority than these for me personally, like I've mentioned. But hey, hammers are hammers. Beggars can't be choosers. I just would have liked to have seen elite enhancement hammers or rubies in here, so whatever. And then finally, we have some gold boxes, which... gold! Whatever. Not that interesting. Nothing that we're probably going to be worrying too much about. Really, we're going to be living in here with these 3, so definitely some good items, but honestly, this is kind of a weak selection in my opinion. But with that being said, let's talk about the World Drop, right? So as always, for those of you out there who are new, if you want to know where you can get these items or these coins from the World Drop event, you can just click on the little fireballs you'll see above these little tabs down here. Or if you actually go to the in-game events themselves, you will also have the little fireballs represented here, and it'll tell you exactly what you are going to be able to get. So it'll pretty much tell you what you're looking at. So as far as what you should prioritize, as far as where you should be grinding, honestly, like I already mentioned, it is not very hard to get these coins, you guys, and in general, it seems like it's going to be pretty generous as far as World Drop events are concerned. if I were you guys, there's two different places I would prioritize, at least in my opinion. I would go ahead and prioritize, if you haven't already gotten yourself all of the characters for the boss syndrome for the Phantom Nest characters from Epic Quest, I would go into Epic Quest and work on doing that, because honestly that's going to be kind of killing two birds with one stone. Epic Quest, in my opinion, is probably going to be one of the best places overall to grind, just because again you are going to be getting multiple different things and benefits from that. Other things that you could always do though, and one of the things that I did, because honestly the yield is very, very good, and this goes back to telling you guys that honestly you get a lot of these coins very, very quickly, and I'll even show you an example. But I actually went ahead and did several different skips using my skip tickets here on the battle card dungeon. I'll show you guys kind of what I'm talking about. We can go ahead and just auto clear some of these. So we'll go ahead and we'll just do a full 10, I don't care. Let's go ahead and see what we get here, because I want to show you guys exactly what I mean when I say I don't think these things are going to be that difficult to acquire. As you guys can see, I'm getting anywhere between 65 and 75 of these coins on here whenever they drop, so you're getting quite a few in here. So in general, if I were you guys, I would say that honestly Epic Quest is probably my favorite option of everything right now. But if you're really just wanting a ton of coins very quickly, the battle card dungeon is a definite option, and one that I would highly recommend, because you get a very good yield on there. It does cost quite a bit of AP, as always, if you're going to be grinding on that final one, but very good option as well. So that would probably be the second option I would pick. And then beyond that, story mode is always a good option as well, because story mode is a very quick and easy clear for most people. It's just that it typically doesn't yield as great a results. But in general, those are the three options I would recommend. You've got a ton of different options that you can choose from, but in my opinion, I would say Epic Quest if you don't have all of the characters from Epic Quest yet, and then from there you can take a look at something like the battle card dungeon, story mode, so on and so forth. But again, I do think just based on doing dailies every day, you're going to come up with a lot of these things by the end of it. And in general, you aren't going to have a very hard time acquiring the coins. You're going to get quite a few. As you guys can see, I've already got 505 of those just from doing what I just did. So I could go ahead and pick up another 5 of these if I wanted to, and then I'm 5 away from being done. So in general, you guys, really not all that difficult. Just on that one auto clear of 10 runs, I was able to get enough to be able to pick one of these up. So by the end of the event, again, we have a long time, 22 days. So we are going to be sitting on 16 days. Keep that in mind. If you guys are not aware, I do also want to make sure I reiterate that just so there's no confusion. But we have 22 days on the crafting event. We have 16 days as far as being able to get the special materials from the world drop in these dungeons. So a little over 2 weeks. So about 3 weeks on the craft and 2 weeks as far as that is concerned to be able to pick those things up. So in general, I think that we have plenty of time with this for what is available here. And honestly, I wouldn't go crazy with your AP on this event, because honestly, you guys, we're probably going to be looking at another rush dungeon very soon after all this stuff goes away. So definitely make sure that you guys are planning accordingly. But I think that that's about going to do it, you guys. That about covers all the things that we have not covered yet this week. So pretty much that's my opinion on all this stuff. Again, the World Drop event isn't necessarily the most rewarding thing in the world, but some of it is pretty decent value for having to do what equates to basically just dailies and maybe a little bit of light grinding. So not anything too crazy. You guys can let me know in the comments section down below what you think of all the things we've talked about in today's video. I know there was a lot of ground we covered, but hey, got to get caught up, right? So anyway, you guys, I will see you all in the Saturday chat and chill. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday, and until the next one, you all take care. Peace.
Continue.